The Untold Story of Nike. Jordan 4s or Jordan 1s? The Nike sneakers are all that sneakerheads can talk about today. But before Nike got its name, it was actually called Blue Ribbon Sports. And while Nike has now thousands of stores all over the world, isn't it amazing that the founder of Nike began by selling shoes from the back of his car? The story of Nike's rise from the back of the car to being one of the world's most popular sportswear companies is a story that would inspire anyone. How did a friendship of two men lead the foundation of the biggest sports company in the world? And what role did the brand Onitsuka Tiger play in the history of Nike? Stay with us till the end of this video to find out. Please remember to click that bell icon to stay tuned and subscribe to our channel before we continue. If you enjoyed the video, share it with all your friends who love sneakers. Phil Knight, the co-founder of Nike, was born on February 24, 1938. He was the son of William W. Knight, who was an attorney but later changed his career and became a newspaper publisher, and his wife, Lotta. His father was a domineering yet kind man who pushed his son beyond his comfort zone. Phil Knight always had a passion for running and competed as a middle-distance runner while studying journalism at the University of Oregon in Eugene. Although Phil experimented with working at various occupations while he was still a student, he was always unsure of what he wanted to accomplish with his life. He was an assistant professor at Portland State University and had previously served in the Army. But then, as he joined the Stanford Graduate School of Business, his life purpose became more and more clear. He understood that he had found his calling when he came up with a concept for a sports shoe company while working on a college assignment. The idea that Phil had proposed in his assignment was the idea that changed his life. He wrote that, "Can Japanese sports shoes do to German sports shoes what Japanese cameras did to German cameras?" He asked himself if Japanese shoes could replace extremely popular brands at the time like Puma or Adidas, just as the Japanese camera companies had replaced German cameras in the American market. Even though Phil eventually finished the paper and graduated from college, he did not forget his idea of bringing Japanese shoes to the US market. So he decided to contact a company in Japan and export their shoes to America. In November 1962, Phil flew to Japan in search of the shoe company that eventually would lead to the foundation of Nike. The shoe company that caught his eye in Japan was Onitsuka Tiger, which produced high-quality shoes at the time. Phil decided to present himself as an American shoe distributor to the company founder and made up a name for his company on the spot, calling it Blue Ribbon Sports. The owner of Onitsuka Tiger agreed to Phil's proposal of him being their distributor in America. Phil was surprised that the owner agreed, but he did not hesitate. Since this was the opportunity he needed, at first, Phil sold the shoes out of the back of his car at running tracks. But later on, Phil decided to take the help of his former coach and friend, Bill Bowerman, who was quite famous at the time. Bill had already coached several Olympic athletes by then. When Phil introduced him to the Onitsuka Tiger, Bill Bowerman and Phil Knight chose to partner up because Bill had such a strong affinity for the shoes. After that, Blue Ribbon Sports sold $8,000 worth of shoes using Bill's connections, and in 1965, their revenue has increased to $20,000. Working with the Onitsuka Tiger shoe, Bill always used to send suggestions back to the company on how to upgrade their shoes. But eventually, Bill ended up designing a shoe that would become one of the best-selling shoes at the time. He decided to call it the Cortez. The Cortez became one of the best-selling shoes in 1968. But they encountered a problem. Onitsuka wasn't providing them with enough shoes, as every new shipment got sold out quickly. To counter this problem, Bill and Phil decided to produce their own shoes and create their own brand. And as the designer of the Cortez originally belonged to Bill Bowerman and not Onitsuka, they already had the basis to do so. They decided to take action as soon as their contract with Onitsuka came to an end in 1972. In 1971, Blue Ribbon Sports were renamed Nike after the Greek goddess of victory. Originally, Nike started to train student athletes for the Summer Olympics at the University of Oregon, and once they won, Nike would produce shoes for these athletes. And this let people think that these shoes helped them win medals. Nike had a 50% market share for sneakers and sporting shoes by the year 1980. Between 1994 and 2009, they also acquired Bauer Hockey, Cole Haan, Umbro, and Hurley International. In addition to the shoes, Nike also began producing sportswear and clothes, and after a while, they launched their advertising division employing well-known basketball and football players. Nike also brought the slogan, "Just Do It," and a very elegant and simple logo, the swoosh. The swoosh was Carolyn Davidson's brand new design. Nike utilized the swoosh for the first time on June 18, 1971, and on January 22, 1974, it was officially registered with the USPTO. Nike Inc. also hired Seattle-based John Brown and his partners as its initial advertising agency in 1976. The next year, the agency produced "There Is No Finish Line," the first Nike brand ad, which did not feature any Nike merchandise. And in December of the same year, the firm went public. Nike widened the scope of its product offering through the 80s to include a variety of sports and geographical areas. They set up shop in Beavertown, Oregon's world headquarters facility in 1990. And then, in November of that same year, downtown Portland saw the opening of Niketown, the first Nike retail location. Nike offered a deal to Michael Jordan in 1980. Michael Jordan was only a rookie at the time and was about to start his first season in the NBA. He had already gotten another deal from Adidas and was ready to accept it, but Nike recognized Michael's potential and gave him a much better deal than Adidas. Michael had never used a Nike shoe before, but he was convinced by his parents and decided to sign the deal with Nike. This led to the birth of the shoes that we all know today as the Nike Air Jordan basketball shoes. Nike was a brand known for its long-distance running shoes, but after they produced the Jordans, they created history. Nike made a lot of money selling the Air Jordans. These shoes are popular even today in 2022. But the first Jordans faced a lot of complications in the NBA. The NBA had a rule at the time which stated that players could only wear white sneakers on the court, and the first Nike Jordans were a combination of red, black, and white. Nike designed this shoe in the theme of the Chicago Bulls team, which was the team that Michael was playing for at the time. Michael would be fined $5,000 every time he wore the shoes in an NBA game. However, Nike decided to pay the fine, which was a much lesser fee to pay for the shoe to stand out in the crowd. After that, Nike went on to sell $126 million worth of Air Jordans in the first year. Michael, in addition to becoming one of the greatest basketball players in history, earned $1.3 billion from his contract with Nike off court. Nike didn't stop there. They bought clothing brands including Bauer Hockey in 1994, Hurley International in 2002, and Converse in 2003. Midway through 2015, Phil Knight declared that he would leave his position as chairman. On June 30, 2016, he formally left his position with Nike. Then, in 2019, Nike appointed John Donahoe as its new brand president and CEO. John Donahoe began working directly with online retailers like eBay and Amazon during the COVID-19 times. Today, Nike Inc. is involved in the design, development, manufacture, marketing, and sales of footwear, clothes, equipment, accessories, and services on a global scale. They have their headquarters in the Portland metro area, close to Beavertown, Oregon, with sales exceeding $37.4 billion in its fiscal year 2020. It is the largest maker of sports equipment as well as a supplier of athletic shoes and apparel worldwide. Nike has 76,700 employees worldwide in 2020. The brand alone has a worth of more than $32 billion in 2020, making it the most valuable brand in the sports industry. The Nike brand was also previously valued at $29.6 billion in 2017. Nike started off from the back of a broke kid's car and ended up being the company it is now, only because of the confidence and dedication of Phil Knight. Were you inspired by the untold story of Nike? Do you have a favorite Nike Jordan? Let us discuss it all in the comments below. Remember to share this video with your fellow sneakerheads to keep them updated on news about sneakers. We will catch you in another exciting video. Until then, keep an eye out.